Aloha, my name is Brandi Kiana-Jo, and you're watching Live Aloha.
And this is
Charmane Valerio with the Live Aloha Show, and we have here Brandi. Brandi, what is your last name?
Aloha.
Mrs. Kiana?
Well, I go by Brandi Kiana-Jo, but my last name is San Augustine.
Oh.
And you are a life coach, I understand.
Yes.
So what does a life coach do?
Well, gosh, there's a lot of different life coaches out there. It's really about helping people overcome their obstacles in life. As a holistic life coach, I look at all aspects of life to empower them to be the best person that they can be. So I break that down into different categories because it's a lot. I know a lot of people are like, wow, there's like so many things that can happen in someone's life. And so I break it down to 3 categories. The first one is diet and physical well-being. The second is relationships and communication. And the third is career and spirituality.
Okay, well, how did you get started in that kind of that vocation?
Well, Tony, it's a very long and big story, and I'm writing a book on it. And I had all these different ideas of creating a healthy fast food joint, like a franchise, like to be the first healthy franchise that makes a positive difference in the world. But it was centralized around food, and I didn't think it was enough. I knew that I wanted to help people, but it still didn't seem like enough. So I went traveling around the world, and I kept asking the question, what is my purpose? How can I help people from the things that I do? And then I aggressively looked for different ways that I can help people, and then I found holistic health coaching, and then I got certified in that, and that actually has an emphasis in nutrition, but with all the different things that I already self-teach and have experienced, I just add everything else that I had mentioned previously. So.
Well, since you have a book, or is it complete, or?
Not yet.
Well, if you want to plug the website, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So you can learn more about me by visiting brandikianajo.com. I know for sure that I can say that you want to read with caution because it's a lot. With my life coaching, it's really important for people to know that I'm not a licensed Western physician. So I'm not going to diagnose you. I'm not going to recommend or prescribe you any drugs. Everything that I do is completely natural. It's very empowering because I help people understand how to identify and overcome their obstacles through very natural ways of what's around them, what they have in their possession, and I provide them with further tools to grow in a very healthy and empowering way.
Beautiful.
Well, but also what you do for the past 5 years, I believe.
4 years.
4 years. Yeah. You have been going around the country giving seminars.
Okay. I've been coaching for 4 years, and actually the Drink Safe Initiative is a brand new event that I'm just starting.
I like that.
And,
it's like a mixer.
what kind of subject matter do you cover in this Drink Safe Initiative?
So this it's a big topic. It's something that people normally don't want to talk about because it has to do with date rape drugs. And once you hear rape in anything, people always shiver and want to get away from it as far as possible because they're like, oh, that sounds terrible. I don't want to be anywhere part of it. And I cover what is date rape, what are date rape drugs, and what's the difference between that and alcohol intoxication because they look very similar. And a lot of times people confuse it for that. I also cover how can you protect yourself and your peers, what happens if it does happen to you or someone you know, and really understand the side effects of it.
What's the big difference, though, regarding being date raped and, the side effects, besides being dizzy?
There are 3 different date rape drugs that I focus on, and it's ketamine, GHB, and Rohypnol. And there's several nicknames, and I actually cover that as well as the different nicknames, the different side effects, and what each of them are.
Ketamine, too?
Yeah. Yeah, and so I'm not a drug
a pharmacist. Or...
Yeah, all the information that I'm learning and sharing is something that's available to the public in various. Right. I'm just putting it all together into one nutshell. But you asked, what are some of the big differences? Death is one.
Yeah.
Death
Well,
is a
that
big
would
one.
be
So
one, yeah.
a lot of times people think that people confuse date rape drugs with alcohol intoxication because you look like you're intoxicated. But the thing with date rape drugs is that it can happen in a matter of minutes. So if you have a drink, maybe you had an alcohol beverage, and then but you only had one, and you look completely intoxicated. That's a very
Big sign.
that you've been drugged. But then what if you didn't even have alcohol?
Right.
That's a very clear indication that you were drugged. But then we look further into these different side effects. I mean, there's mood swings, there's aggression, there's sexual behavior, there's confusion, like you mentioned, dizziness, and loss of memory, but there's also seizures, there's a drop in blood pressure, slowed breathing problems. There's a lot of different things, but the crazy thing about it is that it really does look like alcohol intoxication.
In terms of your audience, has there been a difference between how men react versus how women react?
Everyone's surprised. Everyone's really shocked at how easy that anyone could be drugged, because the biggest takeaway from attending and learning this date rape drug workshop and well, everything that I'm sharing on the website is that it can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. So no one is really like safe.
This younger generation, right, has been very confused about what rape is. You watch social media, like the Steubenville case, I don't know if you know that name right off the bat. Some of the classmates didn't even know it was rape because they thought rape was like some stranger jumping up from the bushes. How do you think we've gotten to this point where people are so uneducated about what rape is?
It's one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because it's something that is so overlooked and underreported. As far as like how did we get into this situation? I think because people don't talk about it and people don't have an idea of how to prevent themselves or what is dangerous and what is not okay. Exactly.
Yes, true.
There's a lot of times people they become silent because of fear of having anything to do with it. And we also have to look at like the language that we're conditioned in. I mean, when you look at even when people are incredibly angry and they're cussing, I mean, you think about like the cuss words that they're saying. It's if you really tune in and you think about those things, it's very much intertwined with rape, very much so. I think that there's a lot of different dynamics here. I mean, it's really based on perspective, and then the written story and the angles as well. So the way that I remember I Love Lucy is I really remember Lucy being really goofy and funny, and the condition was a lot different than what we have in society today. I mean, we have an uprising of women empowerment, and men aren't ashamed of that in this era. You know, it's being applauded, and men are happy about it. And because of this uprising of women empowerment, men are also starting to be more in touch with their feminine side, which I think is incredibly beautiful. However, when we look at the I Love Lucy era, that was a completely different mindset for what men and women are supposed to be like and how they're supposed to operate in the world. I mean, especially in that mindset, the men would always be the bread makers, right? The breadwinners, and then the women would always take care of the house. And so from the 1920s, like that whole era, that's what it was, you know, conditioned for the male to look at the women as perhaps an object, perhaps the family gatherer, the nurturer. But yeah, there's a lot of dynamics to that, because it's not all negative, it's not all positive. And
Closer
it's the same
inspection.
thing.
Have you seen Jackie Gleason's show or the Flintstones?
Flintstones, yeah.
Yeah, well, because it's a ripoff. You see, Fred is always berating Wilma, but Wilma always has a comeback. And same with Jackie and, as Ralph and Alice. You know, to the moon, Alice. You know, one of these days. You know that? Yes, that's physical.
Yeah.
But Alice never takes it. And the reason that it works is because we're not seeing a battered wife. We're seeing a woman who's always gonna, get back at him. Because he's not succeeding in being the abusive husband. That's the whole main point.
Yeah.
Then we got to the 70s.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the 70s, I didn't see it. I don't view it as women empowerment. I mean, I see it more as like, I guess, like some of the 80s movies. I mean, it was. I didn't see women empowerment at all.
The female voice was definitely not there. I mean, yeah, as a male watching Revenge of the Nerds, yes, I can understand that to get back at these girls who are being stuck up, then that's how you do it. You do it by slut-shaming them. That's just how the story arc ends. And yet, well, none of these girls are really sluts, because there was no female voice in that show, in films like that. And I guess now we're hearing it. Now we're hearing it more. And the same as like if you watch looking at Captain Marvel, and I guess you hear the female voices now that was just kind of absent before.
Well, regarding the whole cinema and everything of things, the whole thing with society is so different. That's why I really love your pamphlet that I've been reading, your Drink Safe initiative that she has made, Brandi has made herself, and yes, we're going to be helping her promote some workshops as well immediately. So please contact us or contact her personally. Is this your local number, the 1-844?
Yeah, it's my business number. Yeah.
Or 1-844-947-4222. Okay. That's great, because I think there's a lot of people who have gone through this.